Let's talk Tottenham.
Let's talk
we
Tottenham.
Have to.
Yeah, we do. This man's been eagerly waiting to speak to you. Flav Bateman joins us now, Tottenham fan and content creator from the Fighting Cock podcast. Flav, you've been hearing the nonsense that Rory's been talking about your club. James Maddison not good enough, not happy about the defender you're going to get in, thinks you've overpaid for a goalkeeper you only got for 17 million. He's been saying a lot of things, Flav.
I haven't listened to a single thing Rory said in years. To be fair to him, he's done well with it. For someone who knows so little about Tottenham Hotspur, he's got a lot of opinions about him. But all of it's steeped in this actually fairly guided rivalry we have. But he's now accepted a manager in Pochettino into his warm bosom and thinks that Pochettino is going to be the one. And, we've seen his comment today, haven't we?
Oh, shocking.
Which just shows you exactly what kind of person.
Can we hear it? Let's hear it.
You don't have to hear it.
Sorry, Flav. No, we need to, Flav. Go on, play it. Play the audio.
I think in the last 10, 12, 15 years, I think Chelsea is the greatest team in England. And that we know very well. I think I know very well the Premier League. I know very well what means Chelsea, the culture of Chelsea. I think our fans, they are so excited also to be in the road of trying to win and of course for us to feel really exciting about to work with a very young team in a different approach, of course, than in the past. But I think we need to all understand that we need to work really hard, but in the same time, create a very good atmosphere on the training ground to build the successful for the team in the next few years.
Flav, that's your greatest manager since Bill Nicholson speaking about Chelsea. How does that make you feel?
It's not really, because Birkinshaw won something, didn't he? So incorrect. But look, it doesn't sound good. But this is just another example of the fact that these managers don't really foster relationships with the football clubs they work with. You look, Conte's come to Tottenham, Mourinho's come to Tottenham. It shouldn't be so easy for these managers to transfer to clubs, and the way fandom is these days, it does become easy. I think a lot of Spurs fans that he's, their estimation of Pochettino has gone down, and so it should. When he joined Chelsea, it should have gone down. Everything he achieved with Spurs, or nearly achieved, I should say, means very little to me. Now,
Flav, are you surprised? Are you surprised? Because I think everything that we knew about Pochettino, the way that he'd spoken in the past about not wanting to work with Barcelona because of his love for Espanyol, are you surprised that he's come to Chelsea? Of all of the things that I knew about him, I didn't think he was disloyal.
Well, I am surprised, but we've also, remember, we sacked him. It's not like he's left us. He's chosen to leave us. We didn't. Some would argue, and I'm inclined to agree, that he wasn't back properly at Tottenham. So you could say that he wasn't given the opportunity to rebuild the squad, something that he was very clear and adamant about, the fact that it needed to happen at Spurs. And when things really started to turn, the first thing that Daniel Levy did, and it came over a significant period of time, was to let him go. Then there was an opportunity to bring him back. His name was being sung around White Hart Lane last season. He was there. He was like right there. Do you think
there were conversations there, Flav? Do you think
no,
a conversation was had? No.
Okay. And that's it. And he's looking at it going, well, you don't want me. If you don't want me, I should be able to go wherever I want.
Yeah.
So I feel sympathy in that respect, that he should, like, if Spurs didn't want him to come back, then what loyalty does he have to show to us? The problem is he doesn't have to, in his first interview, saying Chelsea are the best team in Great Britain in the last 10, 12 years. It's not even true, is it? So, I know he's trying to curry favour with the Chelsea support because he's got a lot of work to do there. I'm sure Rory has said, we've had conversations about how unsure you are of this, and the fact that he is Tottenham and he has been previously Tottenham, and he has a lot of work to do to bridge that relationship. It's not quite as bad as Rafa Benitez, I don't think.
No, you're right. You are right, Flav. I mean, of course, this press conference has inspired me to a degree. There's an element of what he's done there. If you look at an opening gambit in a press conference, I think he's ticked every box. Everything that you want him to say.
But you don't believe it. I don't believe when Poch is saying that. I don't believe it.
No, you may not.
The facts might be true because you have been successful, but I almost feel like he's doing it like what Rafa did when he went to Everton. I'm like, I don't really believe that you believe that, Rafa.
No, but
and
it
I
isn't
think
about
that's
that.
What he's doing.
Sometimes it's about paying lip service. Football fans,
but football fans aren't silly.
No, but we can be gullible when somebody says what we want them to say. When somebody acts like a fan. When a Tottenham icon calls Chelsea the biggest club and the best club over the past 10 to 12 years, we want to believe that, and therefore we do believe that, and we can use that to our advantage.
Very quick, Flav, sorry, moving away from Poch, because we could get stuck with this one for hours, I think. In terms of the business, we'll talk about the players that have come in, then the rumoured ones. James Maddison, I've said, and I think I tweeted this as well, I think it's one of the signings of the summer in terms of bargains. I think 40 million for a goal-scoring midfielder, could play out on the left, can play in a number 10. I think it's good business. I really do.
To be honest, I can't believe we actually managed to sign him. You know, for him to be not playing Champions League football when a club like Newcastle, who are in that position, who can offer him all kinds of sums of money to convince him to go north, he ends up coming to Spurs, who finish in 8th. The fact that we can get him in for £40 million, I think it's some incredible business. I appreciate it as a year left on his contract, but he's exactly what we needed as well. I mean, for Newcastle have players that could potentially do what Maddison does, but Spurs didn't. We since Conte and Mourinho, we've not had a number 10. We've not had an attacking number 8 in the mould that Maddison is, and the system that Postecoglou wants to play at Tottenham. If he does continue the systems that he played elsewhere, then we needed a player as good as James Maddison to make that work. So yeah, absolutely happy. I mean, I haven't heard Rory's criticisms of this transfer. I don't think we overpaid for 40 million.
No, he can't say.
26.
I'll turn his mic off if he says that.
No. I think that James Maddison is actually a decent signing, but I think some of the others have been fairly uninspiring. And I'd start at the very top. I'd start with Ange Postecoglou. I don't think that's a particularly inspiring, ambitious appointment, and I don't necessarily think it'll work. How are you feeling about the Postecoglou appointment, Flav?
Well, so what are the examples we've had where we have brought in inspiring managers that win things? It's been hellish. Honestly, the last 3 years of following Spurs have been the most miserable of my life. There have been periods in Conte's reign towards the end of last season for about 6 weeks where it was sensational. You know, usurping Arsenal, getting into top 4, it being a massive part of that complete capitulation at that football club last year. So that Tottenham Hotspur usurped them into that top 4 space. That was an incredible moment, but it was fleeting and it didn't transfer to this season. All of it has been miserable. Every part of that Conte experience past the end of last season has been miserable. So was the Jose Mourinho era. What we need is a manager to unify us in the same way that Pochettino did at Chelsea, and what Pochettino could do at Chelsea, because that's what needs to happen with this squad that you've got there. So we're looking for Postecoglou to do this, to do that thing. And all Spurs fans want, actually the majority of Spurs fans want, because we ran a poll about this to see what do you actually want next season? What does success look like? And fundamentally, it's just a recapturing of that attacking brand of football. To be excited when you go to White Hart Lane, when you're paying £2,000 a year for a season ticket, that you look forward to going, and not sort of sit back, low percentage football where you don't have to worry about taking the game to the opposition. We want to grab the other team by the scruff of the neck and make them realise that they've come into Tottenham rather than this sort of passive, slow football. So what we want and what we expect from Postecoglou is exactly what he's promising and what he's delivered elsewhere. So he might not be the name. He may be from Australia, and there are all kinds of subtext to why people don't want Postecoglou to be successful at Spurs. And the criticisms from fans of other clubs are based on the fact that he isn't your typical profile for a manager in England. That's not to say that, or to suggest in any way, that he isn't good enough for the job.
Yeah, especially
Let's
when you've
wait
tried.
and see.
Yeah, look, you've tried those names that everyone considered sort of achievers, right? Your Mourinho's, your Contes, and Nuno even had a go and it didn't work. So I agree. Postecoglou deserves the opportunity and he'll be given that. Harry Kane, all the news last week was Harry Kane, Bayern Munich coming in, big money, 70 million, and supposedly he'd agreed personal terms with them. Now there's this talk of that he's building the house and his wife's pregnant, he's going to stay. What do you make of this Harry Kane situation? It looks like he is going to stay because that Bayern Munich talk seems to have faded a little bit, but what do you make of it all?
I mean, it's a massive question, and we've done multiple podcasts just on this question alone. I think he stays because he wants to stay in England. I think. I don't believe the idea that he'd agreed a contract with Bayern Munich. I think that the record, the English Premier League all-time goal scoring record, is much more important than winning the Bundesliga or any cup anywhere outside of England. If he is going to move, he's going to stay inside England. That's why he'll probably run his contract down and go to well, I don't want to say about where he might end up, and I'm not ready for that conversation or to really think about it. But if we can get a good start, the third option obviously is if we can get a good start next season and the mood is good and Postecoglou can create that energy that Harry Kane himself talked about in the interview towards the end of the season, is that we have to recreate at Tottenham the feelings that we had and the momentum and the togetherness that we had under Pochettino. And if that happens and we start well, then who's to say you won't sign a new contract? It seems obvious, and most players do the opposite of what Harry Kane has done mostly in his career. Law, from my perspective, I think he should show, he should demonstrate a level of loyalty and subscribe to the idea that no trophy is worth more than loyalty.
He's done loyalty. He's been loyal.
Yeah, but more, a little bit more. Just another 3 or 4 years of loyalty, and then he can go and go elsewhere. Then just a little bit more loyalty as well.
Just a bit more. Flav, appreciate you coming as always, my man. Thank you very much. Flav.